Hi, artists. Welcome back to Greece. We are going to be exploring the sea a little bit more this week. So, if you have time and you have a favorite sea creature or 12, I gave you just an abundance of supplies that you can have fun with. So, the first thing I gave you was a piece of either white paper or gray paper. And it's a really long piece and it was kind of rolled inside of last week's black and orange paper. So, it's kind of tucked in there. So pull that out and you can decide if you want it to go like an aquarium, horizontal, or if you want it to go up and down, vertical, right? So you decide, is it landscape or is it portrait? You pick. I'm going to pick landscape for mine. And then you're going to find perfect squares. There's every color. I put like just 5 or 6 different colors in there. And we're going to just be drawing on this and cutting it up, and we're going to be turning our white paper into an ocean. So, of course, some things we might need is blue for the water, and you can use scissors if you want, or you can rip it and glue it on that way too if you want. So, we're making kind of a texture collage. So, I'm going to do it with you. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is either get a marker or a crayon, something that will show up, even a pencil will show up on this paper, and you want to use that to draw some sea creatures. So, say I want to draw an octopus, like the one that's right. Oh no, I dove right into him. He was right by my head. Did you see that? He's right there. So if you want to draw your octopus, remember all you have to have are those 8 legs, right? This one has kind of 2 eyes and a mouth-ish thing in the middle. Go ahead with those details, but just remember 8 legs, right? That's where they get their name from. So I drew my octopus and I also drew a fish. And I looked around and I have this whole aquarium around me right here. And that might inspire you too. Add some little fish, big fish, you decide. But once I have them drawn, I want to either cut them out or rip them out because I'm making a collage of my ocean. And I'm gonna need more than probably just those two, but we'll get there. Greece is totally surrounded by water. It has seas on all of its sides. But I also need some greenery or right some coral for underneath. So and these also might be rocks or you can see it kind of it just is going to fill it in. These could be shells, could be sand even, and you can use any color. So you could use your yellow, you could use your purple, you get creative. So once I have those drawn, I'm going to cut them out and I'm going to glue them down. I'm actually going to start with my coral and my rocks and those things. I'm gonna build the background first, and then I'm gonna put my fish in last so that they end up on the top. But you can kind of tell that story however you want. Now, this project is just so that we remember that Greece, the geography of Greece, where we're visiting, right? This kind of reminds us that Greece is surrounded by water on all sides. This gives us the chance to kind of explore and have fun with some ocean animals because we haven't had a chance to go to any real oceans yet in our travels, right? So I cut out my green, right? And I'm gonna just glue that down on my white paper. I have my glue stick. So my supplies that I need, I have scissors, I have glue stick, and then I have something to draw with. That could be a marker, a crayon, a colored pencil, whatever you have near you, right? And this project is just for a little bit of fun. Now, what you could do with this project when you finish is this could be a present for someone. All you have to do to make this look really, really awesome at the end is you ask a parent or an adult or aunt, uncle, whoever, right? Ask someone who can help you with kitchen supplies. If you add saran wrap on top of this and they tape that adult tapes it on the back, it then looks like it's an aquarium. The water looks like it can move. So once you get all of these things glued down, if you put that on there, it's going to look like it's moving. And then you can give that aquarium to someone as a present this Christmas. That's just an idea. Because maybe you want to just keep this because oceans are your favorite and you finally have a chance to create one of your favorite things. Okay, now I'm cutting out my rocks. I'm just adding my green shapes here, trying to get just the 3 of them on. And remember, my trick with our glue is always, because this paper is a little bit thicker, right? Because it's construction paper, it's always to hold it as long as a Hail Mary to glue it. So if you get glue on 2 objects, you just kind of lay your hand flat on them. And as long as a Hail Mary, because like I always say, everything is better when Mary's part of it. So call her in. The next thing that we're going to put in kind of looks like sea anemone. That's nice. Maybe we could have Nemo in here. All right, and once we get each part of this, I'm going to rip my next paper, and then I'll cut my fish at the end. But I want to rip my water because I want to show you different textures. Now, my paper is a little bit different than yours. You're using construction paper, so yours is going to rip a little bit easy. I want to make sure my water's here. It kind of also looks like a mountain. So it's got that sea mountain effect to it. It looks like at the bottom of my screen, it kind of resembles that. So I could put this at the bottom of my paper if I wanted. Oh, I totally did that. I put it at the bottom of my paper and it looks really, really cool. I can't wait to hold it up to show you. I am going to cut the other wave that I made across. And then I'm going to rip again. Don't worry. I'm cutting because I want the straight lines to kind of line up with each other. But I also want them to overlap. So see, they overlap in the middle. Okay, doesn't that look cool? And then I'm going to do another one right across the middle here. Okay. So again, I'm going to rip my paper. And then after I rip my paper, I'm going to glue it down. So I rip. Remember, it's go one way, come back. And if you do this with scissors, you just do the same thing with scissors. One way, come back. Kind of is looking like I'm making mountains, right? It does not have to be perfect because waves are constantly moving. But I'm going to do something cool with this one. I'm going to add a 3D effect. And all I have to do is use my finger. I'm going to take that wave and I'm going to wrap it around my finger. It's like giving a crown or a skirt for my finger, right? So I'm wrapping it around like that. Okay, wrapped it around my finger just for a second. And then I'm going to let it go. And then look, it's like totally wound up, right? So I am actually going to glue that up at the top so it looks like the wave is crashing in. And I'm going to glue the other one that I didn't wrap around my finger in a straight line next to it. So we'll see how this looks together. And maybe it's something that you're like, I don't really like how that looks, Mrs. Porch. Well, then don't do that on yours. You're the artist, right? As the artist, you get to decide what do you want to do as your project. How much blue do you want to add to the background? How little blue do you want to add to the background? Do you want to get out your marker? I mean, you decide. You are the artist. You get to make the ocean. And I'm so curious to see if you have time to do this project this week, what it will turn out like. I'm very curious because I've seen your art projects before. And boy, you guys are really good at putting them together and being creative and adding your own flair. This one kind of reminds me of when we were in Jerusalem and they gave you all those little pieces of paper and I asked you to make a village and every artist made something different and it was so beautiful. All right, so look at this. My wave, it literally is springing. It's crashing in there. Now all I have to do is add my fish. That's my last step. And I can add as many fish as I want. And I can add fish that I've drawn. Or I could just rip up some paper that kind of looks like the shape of a fish. So if I rip, let's see, rip the tail of a fish and kind of rip a body of a fish, kind of looks like a fish. Oh, it's totally looking like a fish now. I would call that a fish. So I would take my fish, bloop, 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 see? And I'd glue that in. And I would glue my other fish in after I cut them out and my octopus, right? All right, so I'm cutting them out. And I'm going to glue them in, gluing in my other fish. And then, of course, the one ingredient that will set your art piece apart from everybody else's is your name. Now, another thing you could add to this is if you have time and you wanted to, you could tell the story of your fish, right? You could turn your artwork. Art is always telling a story, but you could turn your art into a story. And since I didn't have time to cut out my octopus, let's pretend like I glued it right there. That looks like a good spot where it's sticking off the page. And by all means, you can go off the ends of your paper or you can have it curl up. You can have it curl down. You can even have your animals pop up. So maybe if I didn't have time to glue that, but I wanted to, here, I wanted them to stick up, I could just fold that paper over, glue on the fold, and then look at that, voila. It can even stick up off your paper, okay? It's, if you want to put the saran wrap on it, everything has to lay flat. But good luck, artists. You're going to do a great job. Bye.